Hello, everybody. This is Tim here again. Here's my review for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I'll just go ahead and say this isn't the worst movie I've seen all year, but this is the biggest letdown. I'm not a Star Wars hater by any means, but I'm also not a Star Wars super fan like some people are. And if you're a super fan, that's cool. I'm just personally not. I like Star Wars, but I don't love Star Wars. For me, Star Wars ended at Return of the Jedi. The original trilogy for me is the true end of the story for this franchise. If you want to know my thoughts on all the films, the reviews are up on my channel. But anyway, yeah, I just want to start off and say, if you hated this film, that's cool. If you loved it, that's cool. This is just my personal opinion on the movie. It's a movie, and this is just how I saw it for my own self after watching it. I'd give the film a low 2 stars. It's a passable film. This is my second least favorite Star Wars film after Episode 1. It has a lot of forced-in comedy like Episode 1. Not as bad goofball comedy as Episode 1, but pretty close. You got Kylo Ren and everybody back who I actually thought were interesting characters in Force Awakens. I still think they're interesting characters here, but they're not really developed any much further than they were in the last movie. Yeah, Kylo Ren actually kills Snoke in the movie and decides to try to become the Supreme Commander himself, but it just feels kind of thrown in, and Snoke is kind of wasted. He's actually done better here in this film than he was in the last film, where he was just pretty much a giant hologram. Here he's better, and he's, as a villain, he's better here in this film. As a matter of fact, he's so much better that I want to see more of him. It's kind of cool how you think Kylo Ren is going to kill Rey, but he actually kills Snoke. It's weird that Snoke doesn't see that coming, though, but he kills Snoke, and then you're like, whoa, that's shocking, which is what the filmmakers wanted, but at the same time, it feels like a slap in the face, because they built up his character in the last movie, and I expected to learn, a lot more about this character. You didn't know a lot about the Emperor in the original films, but Darth Vader was really the big bad in those films. The Emperor was more or less just kind of a plot device until he was developed in the prequels. Here, though, Snoke was done really cool in this film, and then he was just kind of pissed away, pretty much, just to further Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren, once again, is just the same whiny brat that he was in the last movie. In the last movie, though, I was okay with it because I thought he was going to develop into an even more badass character, because at the end of Force Awakens, Snoke is like, we're going to complete your training or whatever, and, you expected him to be an ultimate badass when he comes back. But no, he's still the same conflicted little kid he was in the last movie in this one, really. When he kills Snoke, he pretty much takes control. You got Rey and everybody back. The acting is fine. Nobody here is bad. Everybody's acting is good. You got Rey back. She's good. The movie also is just kind of dull. Most of the movie is just like the heroes floating out in space trying to figure out how to save their ship. Just kind of dull, honestly. Just dragged. And they go to this planet, Finn does, along with this new character named Rose, who just kind of wasn't needed. She wasn't horrible, but why is she there? It's almost like she's just there to have another love interest for Finn to spice things up a bit. Just all around a kind of useless character. But anyway, so they get there and they don't find the real code breaker. Instead, they hook up with Benicio del Toro. He was kind of cool. The movie livened up a bit when they got to the casino and everything here. BB-8 is once again a good character. I like this little robot. R2-D2 wasn't even in this movie that I remember. That kind of pissed me off. C-3PO's there doing his usual C-3PO shtick. He was fine. The guy who plays Cameron Poe, Oscar Isaacs, he was good. He was actually one of my favorite parts of this film. And Finn was as well. Rey was good, but she just, I don't know, her story in this film is kind of so dour compared to anything else that's kind of livened up more in the movie, that she just didn't have a lot to impress me with. She pretty much tries to get Luke to train her, and you find out some more backstory about Luke and Kylo Ren, about where he was training him and he saw a lot of evil in him and how he fell to Snoke. You don't actually see him go to Snoke's side. They never really explained how he was sweet-talking to being with Snoke, mostly because they probably didn't even have an answer, really. So they just kill Snoke off in the movie because they didn't really know how to explain it. They just set it up and didn't know how to carry it through in this film. They set up everything with Force Awakens, but didn't know how to carry a lot of stuff through here. And also Luke, you find out that Luke almost killed Kylo Ren in a moment of weakness. It's like he's not willing to kill Darth Vader, but he's willing to kill Kylo Ren because he senses a lot of evil in him. That's hard to swallow. I didn't like that. I mean, I like the idea of doing something more risky with Luke's character and having where he could turn to the dark side and do something evil. But at the same time, it's not very well explained. He's not willing to kill Vader after everything Vader did, but he's willing to kill Kylo Ren just because he senses evil in him. No wonder Kylo Ren hates Luke. And then in the film, you get to the climax of the movie, everybody joins together on this ice planet, and the Resistance is almost took out, and Kylo Ren's now in charge of the villains, and he goes there to take him out, and you think Luke's there, and you get kind of a neat little fight with Kylo Ren where Luke's dodging the lightsaber and everything. It's really cool, actually, but then you find out that, of course, it's not really Luke. He never even left his planet that he was on. It's just like a hologram that he's sending there of himself, like a projectual image or whatever. And then and then after that, he's just like, see you around, kid, after he's distracted Kylo Ren long enough for the heroes to get away, the last remaining Resistance people or whatever, including Rey. And he's like telling Kylo Ren, I'm not the last Jedi, pretty much pointing out that Rey's the last Jedi, hence the title, which I was kind of cool. And I do like that Luke sacrificed himself to save the last of the Resistance. It's a cool way to go out, but at the same time, it skips back to Luke's planet that he's on, and he kind of just fades away like Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope. And that's just a little weak to me. Luke should be like so powerful by now, even if he's not been using the Force, where he should literally be able to wipe out like entire space stations by just waving his hand. And I'm supposed to believe that just creating a fake image of himself and distracting Kylo Ren for a few minutes, that this somehow drained him of everything he had, and now he's just merged and became one with the Force. It's tacky. I don't like it. It doesn't flow right with the film. The ship or whatever that was in space, the one of the people stays behind on the ship, on the Resistance's ship, and like flies it into the First Order, the enemy ship, and takes out a bunch of their fleets, which that was kind of cool. And meanwhile, on the villain ship with Snoke, Kylo Ren and Rey were having a Force battle, and after it's over, he wants her to join him, pretty much, to rule the universe with him, because he wants to be the supreme ruler now, because he's tired of following Snoke, wants to forge his own path, and, well, Snoke's dead, so he's in control now. Of course, she doesn't want to do it, which is to be expected. She gets away, and that's when you get to the ice planet stuff, where she goes there to help out the last Resistance people or whatever, including Finn, and she lifts up a bunch of rocks from behind, from the back of this cave or whatever, which is kind of lame, but at the same time, it does bring good callbacks to earlier in the film when she was trying to lift rocks with the Force. But at the same time, it's kind of like a lame thing. They depowered Rey in this film as compared to the last film, where she was really overpowered. They still haven't struck the right kind of balance with this character. And the last film, she was really overpowered. Here, she's underpowered. But anyway. And in the film, Luke's dead. And you got these little kids like playing with figures on this planet, acting like they're Luke Skywalker or whatever. And this was some kids that Finn's character met earlier in the film. And one of them runs out and sees like the Resistance flying by at light speed or whatever. And, he gives like a heroic look or whatever. And it's kind of like, goodness will live on or whatever in this child, and more heroes will be born or whatever, even though Luke's gone. That kind of crap. All in all, I'd give it 2 stars. Passable film, not the worst thing I've ever seen. These little porg things or whatever from Luke's planet that are just really in your face. They kind of remind me of like Baby Groot and Guardians 2, just kind of a forced in Disney thing. Once again, I don't hate Disney. There are problems I have with Disney, and I don't like that Disney bought Fox, because I like the X-Men franchise, and I just don't want to see it destroyed. Not so much more movies made. It's just I just don't want to see the cast that Fox has built up with these movies just tossed away for an all-new reboot. I just personally don't want to... sorry about that little jump right there, but yeah, I just personally don't want to see the X-Men films, like the franchise that's been built up, just tossed away for an all-new reboot. That's my only problem with Disney buying Fox. That, and the fact that I just don't believe that Disney will give us any more rated R X-Men films with main franchise characters like Wolverine. I could be wrong, and if I am, that's awesome. But either way, this is about Star Wars, and Star Wars only. I like Force Awakens. It is a bit of a remake of A New Hope, but there's enough new stuff in there with the characters that kept me interested. I'd give it 4 stars out of 4. I thought it was a great popcorn flick. Yes, it could have been better, but for what it was, I thought it was a great 7th sequel popcorn flick, return to form after the prequels. This film is another downgrade like the prequels. This is not a terrible film, but it's a big letdown after Force Awakens, and it's just really weak. It has a lot of promise and doesn't know how to deliver on it and what to do. It feels like Disney is just not sure where to take this new sequel franchise right now. So yeah, all in all, I'd give it a low 2 stars. It's a passable flick, not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's not something I'll ever watch again unless I'm just having a massive Star Wars marathon. So I'll see you guys again with the next review.